Alright, it is currently Monday, June 9, 2025. It's 4:11 p.m. This is a screen recording regarding the video that I captured shortly ago about what's happening on the same day at the same time a year ago with regard to the prosecution of the United States government as I remain in the state of California, subject to what is criminal surveillance. And it is encapsulated within what is a targeting system where surveillance is underway. And that is established for everyone in the country to understand because of the significance of the environment that has been documented in order to understand that it is defying nature. Not only the light source itself, which is remaining idle over me, and based on the exclusivity of the sun, that is speaking that it is not possible under any circumstances that there is only one sun, while the one sun that I'm documenting then would be remaining over one building, which is also not possible because that's not how the sun behaves. So there's necessarily a light source that is outside of what is remaining above me as I document it on a day-to-day basis, which is speaking to the specific environment that you are, whoever you are, wherever you are at in the United States, subject to the same surveillance. And it is inherent to the environment, which is not natural. You are witnessing how I am exposing that it is entirely unnatural. It is actually demonic, the surveillance system, and the fact that the surveillance system is premised upon what is the maintenance of an illusion. That illusion is in the form of being under the impression that you're in a natural environment, including the sun and sunlight, etc. And actually, upon documentation, which is the P.O.C, as I've documented, because of the targeting that I'm subject to in the environment that I've documented in order to prosecute to prove that, it is exposing what everyone in this country is subject to, which is in an environment that is supernatural. It is demonic with regard to what is surveillance, and it is government conduct which makes it criminal, unconstitutional, that which American citizens have not consented to. Neither have we consented to American citizens in this country keeping us under surveillance in concert with that government through the system of what is gang stalking, and it's happening via businesses such as Starbucks, such as Abanath Capital Management and Apartment Complex, such as Speaker Company's Alvarado Gardens, where I'm remaining in Los Angeles on this day in 2024, such as any other venue where I've documented that pattern of conduct remaining underway, any and everywhere. In other words, there's no exception, and there is no moment in time where the pattern of conduct is not underway, meaning surveillance is ceaseless. And amongst the surveillance system is a targeting system with regard to gang stalking, and it is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring. Now, the entity is maintaining activity now. Starbucks is a fully exposed domestic terrorist, a violent sex offender, and is providing a wealth of evidence with regard to its true stature toward American citizens who enforce their rights like myself. They are enemies to the United States. The business itself hates American citizens, especially American citizens that are aware of the satanic means of surveillance that Starbucks is profiting from, and Starbucks is facilitating it, and Starbucks engages in what is psychological torture, harassment, terrorism, and sexual violence as a business, and as those that are acting in concert with those government actors, both directly and vicariously, as it is exposed. And that's exactly what my evidence demonstrates as well. So that's activity that you hear with regard to monitoring me. Even while I'm prosecuting Starbucks, I'm prosecuting the government simultaneously. What it is that is documented on this day in 2024, where I'm at this venue where the fake sun necessarily is remaining, meaning necessarily not the natural environment. So this is an extra light source that's remaining over me everywhere that I travel, everywhere that I go, and wherever I remain. And that's also how you're identifying what is the targeting system and those who are engaging in that targeting. And then you're able to study the behavioral patterns of those who are exposed as mentally deranged, psychopathic, and antisocial, targeting an American citizen in ways in which are not supposed to be capable of being discerned or suspected, but it is in every regard very obvious. As their mental illness is more and more clearly exhibited, the more probative the documentation, the more damning, the more closer the consequences are, the more spectacular that is demonic, that is terrorizing, that is psychologically harmful, the light activity becomes, the stalking tactics become, with regard to the government acting directly and the people of the state acting vicariously, such as having children engaging in the demonic pacing with regard to psychological torture and the monitoring you, especially when you document such tactics, and the government gang stalking you through police departments who follow you around from place to place in helicopters in that specific environment. So this is what I'm subject to on June 9, 2024, where I'm capturing the fake sun outside of my bedroom window in Los Angeles, and common sense dictates and science cannot defy or resist what is the fact that the sun is not outside of my bedroom window in Los Angeles, where I'm facing Alvarado Street at the same exact time 365 days ago, while I'm remaining today, June 9th, since the morning, 9 a.m., never leaving this building, and the sun has been remaining over this building, which is in Starbucks in Ontario, California. And that's not even getting into the contradiction regarding what I documented yesterday and what I documented on June 6, 2025, when I went on Hope Boulevard to the San Bernardino TAD office. And what I was documenting from September into what is May of 2025, September 2024 through May of 2025, which was the sunrise and set at Woodside Senior Apartments. And then that all precedes what is the sunrise and the sunset at this very address that I'm using to juxtapose with this current crime scene, Starbucks in Ontario, where in Los Angeles, the LAPD were gang stalking me just like the Ontario PD is gang stalking the government, the state. In concert with the people of the state in that specific environment, where in Los Angeles, in my apartment, I documented the sunrise and the sunset. And at 3:48 p.m., the sun is outside of my bedroom window, while I am at the same time a year later, with regard to same time of year in a natural environment, the natural environment is going to behave in a substantially similar manner. And it does not include being over Ontario's Starbucks at Euclid and D Street, and also remaining outside of my bedroom window. There's no possible way that I would ever be able to see that. And I certainly wouldn't see it at the close proximity that I do. Not only that, the light sources that you see outside of my bedroom window and that you see over Starbucks are not the cause. It is impossible that they are the cause for the light activity that you see inside of Starbucks and the light activity that you see inside of my bedroom. It is recognizing the demonic pattern of conduct and recognizing the system of monitoring, however. And that's the significance of this video. I am going to start reviewing the video comparing the two crime scenes now. All right, at the top you see what is documented on June 9, 2024 at 3:48 p.m. And I started the video today where I'm located at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where I've been since this morning as a matter of documentation as well, capturing the maintenance. And that's why you document it, because it is supernatural and because it is that which defies what the normal person is accustomed to. The demon-possessed, those who practice witchcraft, those who work in illusions in order to target another person who is subject to conduct and behavior by people who are engaging in what is the necessity of illusions, in order that the ordinary target individual cannot prove what they are being targeted by. And that is leading to what is criminal defamation. So this is built into the pattern of conduct. I want to be clear, the entity that has engaged in criminal defamation against myself has not engaged in criminal defamation that is suggesting that I'm imagining things or hallucinating. The entity does not have any sort of material. The entity engages in criminal defamation by asserting criminal conduct that I've never engaged in, that they don't have the facts to support. They literally manufacture it. The entity has engaged in criminal defamation in the form of manufacturing mental illness just based upon the allegations by the same gang stalkers who are actually mentally ill, and they're hostile to being documented. And the evidence of their criminal conduct is under no circumstances reflection of the mental illness or the mental health whatsoever. In fact, it's demonstrating a pristine level of mental health when you are documenting this level of what is a supernatural and a disconcerting pattern of conduct that's designed to target someone. It's speaking to the exact opposite of what the demon-possessed would like to allege against the target individual, that does not have the arsenal, that doesn't have the weaponry, that doesn't have the equipment to prove what the entity is engaging in and how the entity is engaging in it. And that is nothing other than bullying by the government and bullying by the demon-possessed. This is the work of Satan, but it is criminal, and the government's going to be prosecuted and exposed for it. The video at the top is exposing what is happening at the same time in 2024. The video at the bottom is here in Starbucks in Ontario, California, where I will show you the specific environment. So we're going to look at what happened on this day in 2024 at the same time in my bedroom, which is the private space, which is the sex offense that the government is engaging in. I'm subject to the same pattern of conduct right now at a third-party facilitating venue, which is not my private space, but the bathroom at Starbucks is a private space where they are monitoring. It is the same sex offense that the government will be prosecuted for. Starbucks is not a private company. Starbucks is a facilitating venue and will be prosecuted in the shoes of the state. Group stalking. She's crossing path, walking an engineered light that's currently on my ceiling inside of my bedroom, and the light source is above my apartment window right now, literally directly above my window, where LAPD engaging in demonic activity with the people of the state, crossing path on Alvarado, crossing path again on Alvarado. That's demonic pacing, and they're flying directly over me. while they're listening to what I'm talking about inside of my apartment, or what it is that I'm documenting inside of my apartment. That's the sex offense that the state's engaging in. Engaging in the sex offense in concert with the people that are pacing and engineer light. That's not sunlight, nor is the sun ever directly over this apartment building, over this apartment complex, which is filled with third-party group stalkers. These are terrorists, including Lisa Chu, who's going to federal prison, including Roger Chu. They're both going to be deported after they go to federal prison. They're acting and exhibiting malice and impunity still to date on June 9, 2024, engaging in terrorism with the state of California, who was pacing up Alvarado Street. That's P.O.C. right there. That's a sex offense. The engineered light that's above my head so that you can be sure. The pattern of conduct is consistent and ceaseless. Acting in concert, driving onto the property. That's Choi. He's going to federal prison, and then he's going to be deported out of this country. Another terrorist that's been granted citizenship, unworthy of remaining here. Engineered light, moving across the venue that lives directly across the street, just like 1826. Who's going to be prosecuted. The entity engaged in what is the pattern of conduct. Remember, the entity is doing so while they are aware of the fact that they're being documented. At 3:49 p.m., engineer light moving across this venue right here. Facilitating venue in perfect alignment, moving across this venue right here is documentation of what is the people of the state. The entire population is group stalking. That's why I have a wealth of documentation showing that criminal system underway. Lisa Chu's going to federal prison. She's just in the parking lot for purposes of crossing path at the same time that the terrorists that are the LAPD and illegitimate, lacking any authority. They're engaged in a criminal enterprise in the state of California, and they're going to be disbanded. They're engaged in a sex offense, monitoring me inside of my private space, doing so with real-time knowledge of what it is that's underway, being documented inside of my apartment, while engineered light is on my ceiling. So I want you to see this light that's appearing at a distance. I've got more than one shadow here. There is no sunlight that Lisa Chu is driving in. You're looking at the pattern, the shadow of the surface that's appearing above, and the light source again. You're looking at the light source that has no connection whatsoever. All right, this is showing you what is maintaining this zenith presence over my head at the same time on the same day, and when I am in Ontario, California at 507 North Euclid Avenue, and when I'm in Los Angeles at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6, Los Angeles, California 90026. This is entirely demonic, what you're looking at right here, and this is speaking to the supernatural. That's with regard to the demonic. It is not the natural environment. It is where you are identifying, you are able to witness what it is that the ordinary target individual is typically not able to prove when they make allegations such as strangers are following them, such as, now not stating that there are not those that are not genuinely imagining things that they have no evidence to support, but the absence of evidence is not evidence of mental illness. The entity is engaging in what is targeting American citizens, and doing so in demonic means, doing so in supernatural means, doing so in psychopathic means, and it is that which is outside of the ordinary understanding. This is not discussed in science class. This is not discussed by NASA. This has not been spoken of with regard to social media. This is the entity that's engaging in a pattern of conduct, and it is referred to as the specific environment which defies nature. It is also not possibly the cause of the light that is on my ceiling on the inside of my bedroom. This is the pattern of conduct where you are witnessing stalking with light, as I'm subject to it inside of Starbucks as well. This is what the demon possessed are engaging in routinely with impunity, showing their demon possession, showing their malice, showing their aggression, showing their hostility, while that terrorizing environment remains around you. In the same manner, let me show you this to remind you what you were looking at. Swiping across the seats, the wall, the ceiling, onto the opposite end, having the dancing light. I documented all of this. The entity is monitoring, and it's relevant to the hostility. Hostility is legally analyzed with regard to the demon possessed, who use methods of witchcraft. They use black magic. They use the use of illusions such as the sun, which is actually idle over one address all day long, and it's not the natural environment, to target someone. And this is the specific environment where I'm being gang stalked while I'm at the same time publishing the evidence about the kidnapping that this entity committed. Okay, Tracy Banks acts as the entity at Woodside Senior Apartments as a facilitating venue where the entity was gang stalking, evident through the maintenance of the fake sun over me, which at the same time is at no point going to be over this building like it is right now, where the people in the state are gang stalking inside of the venue. 507 North Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun is documented, as you'll see on the Google Drive. Alright, so this is engineered light that is swiping across the walls. If you're paying attention to that, it's white light that is moving, and you're looking at the passive aggressive behavior of those who are gang stalking. 9 a.m. hour, so that's... They're sitting there monitoring, pacing, because that's what's happening in engineered light when you're being monitored. All they're doing is pacing all around you. These are the demon possessed. And everything that they are doing physically and audibly, they're doing it pursuant to what the targeted individual is doing. It is literally about that person who is targeted, which is evident in that specific environment where the sun is over my apartment in Los Angeles and over me in Starbucks in Ontario at the same time on the same day. And it is replete with what is light activity that is totally separate and distinct from that sun, where the entity is failing in its illusion because sunlight is not going to have light shooting from vehicles outside of the building or creating a web of light in the corner of your bedroom on a third floor apartment in Los Angeles where the sun is outside of the window. This is the entity that is stalking with light. This light is integral with regard to surveillance. And it is entirely terrorizing while the entity is stalking you with light, molesting you with light, harassing you with light, and doing more of it while you document it. This is what this third party is doing with minor children right here.
Now that's just context regarding domestic terrorists that are bringing in children to engage in satanic behavior designed to monitor an American citizen, and they do so with knowledge that it's being documented. And pay attention to the impossible light activity because it's directly relevant to the maintenance of a fake sun that is not possibly not the cause of what is simultaneous presence path, relevant positioning, and impossible light activity. Both stationary on the wall with a drive-through window, and then also dynamic, where they're all monitoring, and they're doing so by virtue of presence. So being in
So that is the environment where you're looking at stalking with light. This is crucial with regard to understanding criminal surveillance on communication devices by the people of the state that are vicariously acting with the government that is engaging in criminal monitoring in this country. And it is that which the government is doing in reliance on the people of the state who are the same condition. These are demons. And this is demonic. What they're doing with light, it's demonic with regard to the environment that they're maintaining presence in. And it's also demonic the way that they conduct themselves as though nothing is happening. That's very demented. It's also highly malicious. And it's very unpersuasive, and it's totally unnatural. It is incriminating, and the entity sought that it was going to, intended that it would make the target individual look weird. No, they all look weird and sick while they're in this environment, and they are acting like it's not there. That is speaking to what is the pattern of conduct with regard to stalking by strangers, stalking by the entity that is engaging in that P.O.C. As a matter of a government system. It is entirely suspicious. It's not innocent whatsoever. In addition to that, you're looking at what is the light activity. You'll remember the wall of light that was also on the bathroom wall today with regard to what's in my bedroom on the ceiling. This is what's on the wall here in Starbucks.
light activity. It's a sex offender that
when they're monitoring my genitalia in the bathroom.
This is impossible.
That's impossible light activity. This is what's in my bedroom on the ceiling.
Pattern, the shadow of the surface that's appearing above, and the light source again. You're looking at the light source that has no connection whatsoever with the engineered light that's on my ceiling. Nor are they walking in sunlight or driving in sunlight, nor is sunlight ricocheting off of the demons' vehicles that are pacing up and down Alvarado. All right, they're engaging in what is ongoing concerted conduct of a demonic nature, and they're engaging in what is terrorism and a sexually violent one while they're monitoring someone who is inside of a private space, maintaining 24-hour surveillance for no legitimate purpose. This is what the government in California is engaging in, by the way, that shall be prosecuted as an exceedingly violent and very highly demented sex offense. P.O.C. P.O.C. All right, documented what is the massive sex offense that the people of the state are engaging in, while each and every demon that cross path in concert with LAPD at 5:27 p.m. every license plate red is going to federal prison that represents the people of the state, and those demons that were driving by under the light source that was still over me after 5 p.m. in the afternoon, which is never going to be the sun because I'm at that same entrance at 9:37 in the morning. That's how you know what that third party is doing. They're doing so with impunity and demonstrating their demon possession at the same time while engineered light moves all across the sidewalk and moves all across the third-party vehicles that are parked along Alvarado while they are indeed engaging in what is terrorism in my face. And
So in other words, the maintenance of the specific environment in this way, that is revealing stalking, and stalking by a group. It is group stalking and it's government conduct. The government is gang stalking as well, and that's the significance of the helicopters following me around from place to place in an environment that is entirely supernatural. It is the pattern of conduct that the Los Angeles Police Department and the Ontario Police Department share. The Ontario Police Department has committed several kidnappings, the latest being committed on May 29, 2025 until June 3rd, 2025, and I remain subject to this pattern of conduct, which is why the Ontario police officers gang stalking and committing kidnapping are subject to federal prison. The entity was maintaining this light source over Woodside Senior Apartments, which I documented. This is a grand departure from it, and it is under no circumstances going to be shared with that which is the sun outside of my bedroom window, creating this method of light activity, speaking to monitoring. that is gang stalking, and what is a light source, which is identifying gang stalking. That's speaking to everybody that is monitoring in that environment, everyone, no exception. The entity is maintaining this environment, and I want you to see this light source that is hunkered down outside of my bedroom window, which is not over the roof in a natural environment of Starbucks at the same time. And this is what the entity is engaging in while targeting me, and this is a clear means of identifying targeting, in the same way that the police departments clearly shown to be targeting in that environment when using helicopters, also engaging what is traditional stalking as they follow me around from place to place, and targeting while they engage in what are waging false allegations as a pattern in concert with the people of the state engaging in that targeting system. So this is where the entity is maintaining this specific environment, and I want to show you what is
that is not outside of my bedroom window in Los Angeles. The entity is gang stalking by evidence of that specific environment, which defies nature. The entity is honking their horns with regard to activity creation. The traffic lights and everything happening at this intersection where they're pacing all around me is pursuant to what I'm doing as I'm doing it. The Ontario International Airport flying over with a fake sun is sitting idle. The city of Ontario is engaged in gang stalking, like the city of Los Angeles is on this day, evident by the amplified helicopter activity while I'm inside of my bedroom, subject to the sex offense by the entity that's gang stalking. This impossible light activity happening inside of my bedroom as well, where you will see impossible light on the ceiling inside of my bedroom, where that is never the product of the sun. Neither is the sun mutually over 507 North Euclid Avenue, nor is the sun creating any sunlight when EPINC1 drives by a building, or nor creates any sunlight on the ceiling inside of my bedroom where the entity is gang stalking. This is P.O.C. It's currently 3:52 p.m. This is relevant to that specific environment where the entity is monitoring on an ongoing basis, on a ceaseless basis, like I've been documenting. And this is, the entity that is subject to federal prison, gang stalking by the Ontario International Airport that's flying over my head where I'm capturing this video in a white plane with a blue underbelly. That's either United Airlines.
Alrighty, this is what I want to make sure that I hone in on. This is where the Ontario Police Department is also documented as of release from kidnapping on June 3rd, 2025. Gang stalking with the people of the state directly by helicopter, and by gang stalking at Chevron in relevant position across the street on June 4th, 2025 at 11:54 a.m. Gang stalking by crossing path in traffic with the demon-possessed who are pacing with this impossible light, shooting inside a Starbucks. Ontario Police is gang stalking with the people of the state, as I've been documenting since release from kidnapping by the same corrupt terrorist organization referring to itself as a law enforcement agency. It's currently 4:34 p.m. The entity is maintaining impossible light inside of Starbucks pursuant to ongoing domestic terrorism and harassment and psychological torture, which the people of the state, corrupt businesses like Starbucks, are going to be prosecuted for, criminally and civilly, by the way. This is P.O.C. It's Monday, June 9th, 2025. This is P.O.C.